Episode 4143, You Didn't Come This Far to Come This Far.
Moms, it's time to rediscover, rejuvenate, and renew who you are in mind, body, and spirit. Welcome to Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie, the show to help you do just that. Here's your host, certified life coach, personal trainer, and nutritionist, Christiane Wargo.
Happy day. I hope you had a fabulous weekend. Can you believe it? Welcome to August of 2026. And maybe you're listening to this at a later time. Wherever you are, just know that I'm praying for you because you know what? Life gets a little bit crazy. And right now, though, as I'm recording this, school is around the corner. Some of you are beginning to prepare for that. And so as we move into a new season, you didn't come this far to come this far. For those of you who are brand new to Create Your Now, welcome to this incredible family. I'm so delighted of your presence. If you already had the opportunity, you'll want to head on over to createyournow.com where you can learn more and sign up for the Kisses newsletter. They keep it simple strategy, everyday solutions to live, love, and impact. Well, this episode is brought to you by AIM, Inspiring Connection and Community. All right. Well, I don't know if you noticed it, but I noticed it and it drives me crazy. So I just like to call it out because it is. My voice seems a little bit lower. That's probably because I have been working really, really hard over the weekend. We have been in process of moving. And let me tell you, the body is tired. The mind, not necessarily a lot. But you know, when you get into a different season of life, things begin to change. Things begin to shift. And we don't realize how that affects our mind, body, and spirit. When you look at where you are right now, right? And you're thinking, well, how did I get here? Okay, well, we could be here for a long time if we went through every bit of your journey. But as you know, a journey lasts a lifetime. And it requires a chosen mindset, intentional thoughts, and actions that put an exclamation point to movement. Not a comma, not a question mark, an exclamation point. A declaration that you meant to keep going. You decided, right? And as you travel the various paths set before you, I want you to let this settle into your spirit. You didn't come this far to come this far. A lot of times we can reach for a goal. We get to that goal, but it's not really the end in mind, right? It's just a stepping stone to where we want to go. But unfortunately, when we look at where we are, it's like, oh, we let down our guard and we don't want to push as hard. You got to keep going. You got to keep what was valuable in front of you. You know, you pivoted where necessary when you were headed for it, right? You became consistent as time moved on, even when consistency cost you something. That wasn't by accident. That's the fruit of a decision made over and over again, quietly on ordinary days nobody was watching. So I want you to take a minute. Take this moment and think about how far you've actually come. And I don't want you to be passive about it. Really let yourself go back. Reflect on what that looks like in full color. You know, if you ever had the opportunity to see a show in black and white on an actual black and white TV, and if maybe it wasn't a TV, it was more like a computer screen, take yourself back to that. Here's a big difference of looking at your life in black and white versus full color. And today, I want you to see it in full color. I want you to see the details. I want you to feel all the feels. What was happening? Where were you? What was the tension at the time? Maybe it happened around a weather event. Maybe it happened on a life event for you. Remember the version of who you didn't know what you know now. I know, confusing, right? So you're looking at who you are back then, but you didn't know who you are becoming, which is where you are right now. Confusing, yes. It's time to wake up our Monday thoughts for sure and let our mind really grasp what's going on, right? You hadn't survived what you've since survived, right? See how you handled change. See how you handled challenges that at the time felt like they might undo you. Right? The stress was so intense that you're like, I'm not going to get through this. There's no way I can get to the other side. Could things have been handled better? For most of us, probably yes. And that's not condemnation. That's growth admitting itself out loud. It's saying, yeah, I didn't do everything exactly the way. Why? Because I've gone through experiences. I've grown and changed standing where I am now. But where I was, I didn't really know what I knew, right? You look at a child, right? You go and you think about your elementary into middle school years and then middle school into high school. If the kids were to the point of true high school years, not, oh, well, they're 8 years old, but they're really like 22 years old. You know, those statements that we throw around kind of like, oh, they're bigger than their britches, right? Well, the problem is a lot of times we think we're bigger than our britches, but our decisions and our consistency says otherwise. So where's your growth? What does your growth pattern look like over the past 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Philippians 1:6 reminds us that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. You were never meant to arrive fully formed, right? You were never meant to be fully who you're supposed to be when you were 8 years old, let alone 22, 42, 62. You weren't. You're becoming, right? You were meant to keep being carried, to keep being shaped, to keep becoming. So many changes have moved through your life. Relationships have shifted, seasons closed, identities you once wore no longer fit. Remember those masquerade balls? Oh, wait, maybe you still attend them. Maybe you invite others to them too. And in the middle of all of that change, lessons were learned, some gently, some the hard way. So ask yourself honestly, where are you today? Standing in the wreckage or the wonder of all of it? What have you left behind that actually needs to be brought back to the forefront? Maybe it's a discipline you dropped. Maybe it's a version of faith that was simpler and truer before life complicated it. Maybe it's a hope you buried because disappointment felt safer than expectation. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. Leaving something behind for a season doesn't mean it was meant to stay buried forever. So as you're reflecting back, as you're looking at your journey in full color, think about that. Just because you left it behind for a season doesn't mean it's meant to stay buried forever. You didn't come this far to come this far. Think about it. I mean, like, really stop. Let yourself go deep. Pull back the layers. Because if you're sitting here just going, nah, well, it's not a big deal. You didn't come this far to come this far. There's more. You're made for more. But you've got to be willing to continue to create your now. So stop letting this phrase, right, you didn't come this far to come this far, just be something clever, something that we repeat once in a while, and let it start being a mirror. You did not survive what you survived. You did not learn what you learned. You did not release what you released just to plateau here, just to stop, just to coast, just to let the momentum die quietly while you tell yourself, you're content with far enough. I got it. Far enough was never the destination, my friend. It was a mile marker. Think about your GPS system right now. Think about your dreams and your goals. Where are you headed? It's time to rise up. This is not the time to numb out and just let the mundane things in life lead. You get to set the tone for your mind, body, and spirit. That is your Kiss to Keep It Simple strategy. Set the tone for your mind, body, and spirit. There's decisions that have to be made. You have to look at things, and it influences all of that, your whole being. You can't just sit here and say, well, you know what, my mind's not really important. I'm just going to focus on the body. Oh, but we've all done that. You want to lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds? A lot of times we're just focused on the body. But guess what plays a very, very important part in that? Your mindset, right? The mind does. What about your spirit? Your connection with your Heavenly Father, how He sees you with your body and what it looks like. See how it gets deeper fast? But we have to let ourselves get there. So I want you to set the tone. And what does it look like in real life? Well, number one, mind. Let your mind reject the lie that you've peaked. You haven't arrived. You know how your GPS system says arrived? You have arrived at your destination. I am not good at mimicking any form of accents or repeating people. So if I sound strange, welcome to the family. I am a little strange when it comes to mimicking. So I don't know how the GPS systems, and they've changed so much. But you got to let your mind reject the lie that you've peaked. Every day begins with a decision about what you'll believe about yourself before you've proven anything. Renew your thinking on purpose, with intention before the day has a chance to hand you a reasoned doubt. Romans 12:2 calls this being transformed by the renewing of your mind. You got to renew your mind, not once, but daily, deliberately, until the old ceiling you built for yourself stops feeling true. We build up a lot of walls, and then we place what? Even more boundaries around it. We add a ceiling. I can only go this high. This is where I got to stop here. No, you don't. You're made for more. So you really got to think about it. Where does your mind play a part in your life, in your journey? Maybe that's a big hang up for you. It is for a lot of people. And it's something that you have to be very careful of, because what are you feeding your mind? If you're numbing out by just scrolling all the time, now again, once in a while, not a big deal. But if that is your way of just going, oh, I just got to do nothing right now, maybe you need to go take a hot bath instead. Allow your mind and your body and your spirit to rest. That doesn't mean necessarily sleep, but to rest. Maybe you need to go and pick up a good book and read. Allow yourself to escape from where you are right now into something that, I can learn from, or I just get to enjoy. Either way is a great thing. But you got to let your mind reject the lie that you've peaked, because you've got a mountain still to climb and more beyond that. Number 2, your body. Let your body carry out what your mind has decided, one faithful action at a time. When we have our mind, right, then we have to follow it up with action, and that's done with our body. Belief that never becomes movement is just a feeling. The body is where intention gets proven, the phone call you make, the boundary you hold, the habit you repeat, even when it's small and unremarkable. James 2 verse 17 puts it plainly, faith without action is dead. Let your actions be the exclamation point your mind can't put there alone. We can think, we can dream all we want in our mind. We can say, oh, I'm becoming this great person. I am this great person. Oh, look at me. And a lot of people live there, right? You probably already have thought of 3 people right now off the top of your head. And I hope it's not within the privacy of your own 4 walls. Okay, because if so, we need to have more conversations, but we'll leave that one to another episode. I'm specifically thinking about your spouse because it's hard in that regard, right? But our actions speak louder than words, but our words start the transaction of the action for the transition that creates a transformation. Whew. Mouthful, yes. Possible, most definitely. So let your actions be the exclamation point your mind can't put there alone. It takes all 3, mind, body, and number 3, spirit. Let your spirit remember that this was never a solo journey to begin with. You were not designed to sustain forward motion on willpower alone. Isaiah 41:10 says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. Your spirit is part of you that keeps hoping when your mind is tired and your body is worn out and torn. So tend to it daily, the same way you tend to anything you actually intend to keep alive. They're all connected, intricately, intimately. Nothing left to chance will ever change on its own. My friend, chance doesn't build a life. Intention does. Intentionality is the key component to continuing on your path. Not intensity, not perfection, just steady, chosen, repeated intention. Think about where you've come from. right? You're looking at that in full color. Where do some of these things show up? Where were you living a life of intention versus not? Did it help you? And I don't want to use the word successful, but sometimes that's the only word. But did you get to where you want to be in that moment, whatever that was? For example, let's just say you were going to college and you had to get a bachelor's degree to go on to work on your master's. So did you get there? Were you able to cross the finish line? Because here's where hope lives in all of this. Hope is not naive about how far you've fallen or how many times you've had to start again. Hope simply insists that the story isn't finished. Your story isn't finished. So don't be so quick to try to rip it out of God's hand. Be willing to write it with him. Romans 5 verses 4 and 5 says, perseverance produces character and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame. Your setbacks were never disqualifying. They were curriculum. It was a training manual. Every pivot, every season you thought you'd wasted, every lesson that cost you more than you wanted to pay, it was building the exact resilience that hope requires to keep speaking, to keep going, to keep doing. One step at a time leads to miles of greatness. This is the journey that you're on. You don't leap into a transformed life. You take one honest step, then another, until one day you turn around and realize the ground you've covered was miles, not inches. My friend, you didn't come this far to come this far. You came this far to keep going. Go in peace, be present, be incredible, be you. I love you so very much. I cannot wait to see you on the other side. Blessings, hugs, and lots and lots of love. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a glorious, blessed day. Bye-bye.
Feeling inspired, ready to train for life and love your journey? Visit createyournow.com for more incredible resources to help you along the way. We'll see you next time on Create Your Now, Your Best Selfie. And remember, always be sure you consult your physician before beginning any health and fitness plan.